Hello and welcome to one of my many vlogs. Today we are going to be making stuffed sliders on basically silver dollar buns that I picked up. Otherwise you can easily use a lettuce wrap or use keto bread, which I might opt for. It's simple mug bread that you can make in the microwave. But I am using 2 pounds of meat. They are going to be smaller than usual. And I'm going to be making them inside on a cast iron pan just because it's been rainy outside. So you can choose to grill these outside, or you can decide to use them or make them inside. So let's get started. Again, this is a gushing recipe, and get rid of all your rings and stuff so that you don't get it all up in there. I know my nails are a little long for cooking this, but I am sure that I will clean them out afterwards. So I have almost everything pre-measured. Some is going to be more according to what I would want in my burger, and it would be up to your judgment as well. So first things first, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire, however you say it, sauce there. And then 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. And then I used an 1/8 cup of onion powder. Otherwise you can just use basically, I think it was 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons is pretty close. Then I'm going to add some parsley flakes just because I like some of the green in there. And that I'm probably going to use a good 2 dashes. So, and then going to use a dash of salt. A little hefty dash of salt. Oop. I'm only human, people. And then I'm going to use black pepper. You can use red pepper or chili pepper if you like things a little more spicy. Can't get this black pepper open for the life of me. Okay, there we go. Just gonna pour some out into my hand. And we're gonna go a little bit lighter of a dash. And again. Okay, so now that we have all of our ingredients in the bowl, time to gush it all together. Mix it all up. So these are nice and cold. One I had in the fridge thawing overnight, and the other one was already pretty nicely thawed, but also in the fridge because you want to keep them cool and not have them go bad or rancid for being outside of the fridge for too long. But yeah, I can tell which one was still more frozen, because it's definitely cold doing this. And again, you just want to have all of it nice and mixed up. like that. Need to get it all in because you want the flavor all the way through the burger. Nice thing about this is you don't really need a binding agent because unlike meatloaf, you are not going to be, you're not going to be adding breadcrumbs. Even meatballs, sometimes you do add breadcrumbs. Some people swear by it, some people don't add breadcrumbs at all. But this is just a simple, get it all set there. Okay, so that is our base. I'm gonna be digging into this and we're gonna be making stuffed sliders in just a second when I come back. We are back and I have prepped all of the cheese and the mushrooms, and obviously right before this we prepped the meat. I grabbed a spoon. It's gonna help me make the patties. I do have a white plate over here on the side that I'm going to be putting all of the patties that we make onto. And just want to say this is about 7 mushrooms of about that size there. I'll just eat this one. I'm gonna make the patties right here. Yeah, remember these are gonna be small but thick burgers. So you want to leave space for the cheese, but you also need to be able to put some more meat on it and close it up. So let's see, first one I want to make, I'm going to use this cheese. This is our black pepper bacon smoked cheddar cheese that we get at one of our local markets. Super tasty and so worth the money. So I may have cut them a little big. Well, that's not bad. So anyway, you're stuffing these. So you need to make it nice, small, put around it. And don't forget the meat does kind of shrink up when you do cook it. So, got another heaping tablespoon for being on top. Make sure it's closed on all the sides. It's a nice, it's actually a really good size. You just want to make sure that it's nice and closed all the way around. So, there you go, there's patty 1. And that's just one piece of cheese. Now I'm going to make a mushroom Swiss burger. It is very, very important to have all of this stuff pre-done or pre-set for you so that you don't have to worry about cutting it up as you go, because you're going to be handling the meat. And you want to keep the meat together as much as possible. But you also need to make a space for the cheese. And in this case, mushrooms. So this one I'm going to lay, we got this one sliced. They weren't slicing this there, so it was already pre-sliced. So what's nice about that is I can lay some in there, grab a little mushroom, and then put the rest on top. That was about 3 slices worth. These others are cut at about, I would say, a 1/4 inch. And then again, this one might need a little more cheese because there's a little more in there. Not more cheese, a little more meat because there's a little more in there. So again, just making the patty around itself, pinching it closed on all edges. And forming it. And voila. And there is your mushroom Swiss. A good indicator of which one is a mushroom, you can always take a little bit of this or one of those sliced mushrooms that I showed you before and just mark it on top. Okay, then finally we're just going to do a regular cheddar. This, well, it's not so regular. It's a sharp cheddar, tastes really good. But instead of having your cheddar on the outside, like usual, this time we're going to have it on the inside. You can go with any one of these recipes. I'm going with all of them, and I'll show you what they look like after we're done. They're going to be so tasty. So finally, you take another good scoop. And you put it on top. You press it down around to all the sides. It's easier when it's just one piece of cheese, as you probably can tell. You just close it up all the way around. And then form it. And voila, there's another patty. So I'm gonna cut right here, make all the rest of the patties, and we will be back. I'm probably not gonna use all this cheese, but that's not gonna hurt me any. Okay, here we are. And it made a good 9 of them. For this row of them though, I did double cheese. So those are obviously a little bigger than the rest of them. And that's kind of how they look. Those are the bacon ones. The one in the middle, of course, is the mushroom Swiss. And then the ones on this side are the cheddar. I'm gonna cook those up, and I will get back to you with how long I cook them on each side and what else I'm cooking on the side, including the rest of these mushrooms, to put on top. Got some mushrooms, some tomato, some lettuce, and of course you still have your cheese that was left over from before. And just based on this one is our mushroom Swiss. So I'm going to add some of the mushrooms that I cooked up in some of the juices that were left over, if I'm good with it. There we go. And then with another fork, I am going to go ahead and serve out pickles to all of them. Because they're so small, 2 or 3 will do. And then 2 more. Oh. 1 giant one and 1 little one. I'll put that last one on there. Okay, and then I sliced up a Roma tomato. They're kind of the perfect size for these. And then, there we go. And then finally, the lettuce. So I was able to split these into halves, and that way, again, they're about perfect size. maybe a little big, so if you want, you can fold them down and make them fit a little better. Otherwise, these are on dollar buns. That's what they're called. Got them from our local grocery. They're like perfect size for these. One of the things that I did get to help us keep them together are skewers. Kind of need something with a little sharp end and then long enough to keep it all together. So after I open these up, take one out. There we go. And then simple skewer. And voila. Maybe I didn't need the long one. And then again, that in there. Simple skewer. And then I'll grab a short one, see how that does for this last one. Short ones are almost half the size, so it might not be big enough. But really, as long as it gets into the meat, I think it'll be okay. And again, simple skewer. And voila. You can always add your condiments, which I did not do. But I do want to show you what it looks like when we cut into them. There's the cheddar. If you want it more cheesy, see how much of a mess I made. If you want it more cheesy, of course you add more cheese, but as you squish it, it just oops. There's how the Swiss looks. It's a little bit harder of a cheese, so it doesn't melt as nice. But Swiss, mushrooms, all that on the inside. Again, you can load these really however you want, but that's how those look. And then we come to our final one. This one, the cheese obviously was the hardest. That's that kind of cheese. But ultimately, cooked in the center to perfection. So, that's it for this vlog. I hope you enjoy yours and hope you don't have to take them apart as much as I did.